When I was about seven, eight, I went along to church one day and someone was preaching there and they got someone up, it happened to be me, to do a little kind of demonstration about the gospel. There's a big rucksack of bricks, filled with bricks, and I was wandering around finding it heavy, and then he took it off and said, this is what Jesus does, that we've got all this sin and bad stuff that weighs us down, Jesus takes it away. That was the first time it made sense, and I was like, yes, okay, I will become a Christian, and I became a Christian. But then when I was 8 years old, my dad died on Christmas Day. Yeah, so I grew up, without that father figure from 8 onwards. My mum is a flipping legend, so, she's done an absolutely fantastic job. But it didn't, per se, have that male role model in the same sense. But I remember when I was in my early 20s, it's not too long ago, actually, about 21 or something, and I was listening to a preach, and it was this guy who was preaching on the father heart of God, the way in which God is a father. He loves us, he wants to make up for any of those wounds where missing fathers or fathers getting it wrong have, left hurts and things. And I was listening already, he's preaching to the choir here, and I was like, yeah, this is what I know, this is what I believe, hey, I'm putting it into motion. But the more I listened, the more he talks about it, the more I was like, well, actually, I don't know if you're right there. I mean, you're saying all this, but now I'm having to think about it. Well, where was God to cheer me on at the side of my rugby matches? Where was God to talk to me about girls? Where was God to chat to me when things were getting a little bit tough? Where was God to give me a hug? Where was God to teach me to shave? Now, that was like a bit of a thing that, like in the films, you'd always see the father-son bonding moment where, little shaving cream on the nose and that, they have a lovely little father-son. I never had that. Yeah, and I was getting more and more worked up in this sermon, listening to this guy preaching about what I'd been holding as true for all these years. And I was thinking, no, well, where is this father of mine, supposedly, he's supposed to be there? And as I was thinking about it more and more and getting a bit more and more worked up, I had this memory pop into my head, and it was of my mate Bonner. Now, my mate Bonner is a legend, great guy. I was round at his house, he was a few years older than me, and we were playing PlayStation or something, and all of a sudden he went off to the bathroom and disappeared for a few minutes. And so I was like, Bonner, what are you doing? Because he didn't come back for a while. And he shouted back that he was shaving. And okay, a few years older than me, that's cool. And then out of nowhere, he just popped his head round the side and said, Rob, do you know how to shave? And I was like, no. He was like, I'll teach you. And so he taught me to shave. My mate Bonner, it's not exactly, this perfect father figure, whatever. He was only a few years older than me, my mate. But in that moment, I remember standing there watching on him, showing me, this is how it works, these are the moves, having a bit of fun with it, whatever. And I still had that kind of, that moment, that growing kind of moment. And in that moment, I was thinking, actually, yeah, there was the gap where my dad wasn't there. Yet God provided someone to fill in that gap, to make sure I wasn't missing out on that experience. And as I was thinking about it more and more, I thought about, well, actually, yeah, no, my dad wasn't there at the side of my rugby games to cheer me on, but my mum made a great effort to come along, actually. And yeah, my dad wasn't there to talk to me about girls, but that youth leader gave me a proper, telling off and talking to whatever about it all, and stepped in to fill that gap. And I was thinking about all the times that, actually, yeah, there have been things which have slot in to fill in that void. And as I was thinking about it and remembering all these different times, I started getting really warm. Just warm all over, and I started sweating like profusely, and just getting hotter and hotter, and it just felt like I was just being enveloped, and almost as if God was reaching down and giving me a hug, and just in that moment I knew that, yeah, that God, you are my father, God, you have been there, you care for me, and you want to make a difference, and God is my father, and it makes a difference in my life. It's what I want to build my life on, and no matter what I'm going through, he's always there to rely on. There's always someone watching out for me. As much as I might be a confident and independent and whatever kind of guy, I've always got someone I can fall back on. I'm never alone. So yeah, these days, me and my wife Nat, we run a Christian theatre company. And so we go around doing shows and productions and various things and try and communicate something of the value of faith, and not, just kind of church or cultural faith, but the faith which is alive, which is real, which is has something of a real connection with the God who loves us and is real. My name's Rob, and I am a child of God. Not even one of the good ones, but he still loves me anyway, which is great.